Hey guys, Mr. Cooney back for the last abridged book of the Odyssey and its conclusion. It is book 23, The Trunk of the Olive Tree. So what's that a reference to? Well, if you're reading the whole thing, you would know that Odysseus and Penelope's bed is based around the actual trunk of a real olive tree, and it's kind of a symbol of the rootedness of their relationship. So here we go. Great-hearted Odysseus, home at last, was being bathed now by Eurynome and rubbed with golden oil and clothed again in a fresh tunic and a cloak. Athena lent him beauty head to foot. She made him taller and massive too, with crisping hair and curls like petals of wild hyacinth, and all red golden. Think of gold infused on silver by a craftsman whose fine art with Hephaestus taught him, or Athena, one whose work moves to delight. Just so she lavished the beauty over Odysseus' head and shoulders, then sat then in the same chair by the pillar, facing his wife, and said, "Strange woman, the immortals of Olympus made you harder than any. Who else in the world would keep aloof as you do from your husband if he returned to you from years of trouble, cast on his own in land of the 20th year? Nurse, make up a bed for me to sleep on. Her heart is iron in her breast." So it sounds like Penelope is, she's afraid to believe that this could possibly be Odysseus, right? Because it seems and feels impossible, right? Penelope spoke to Odysseus now, and she said, "Strange man, if man you are, this is no pride on my part, nor scorn for you, not even wonder merely. I know so well how he appeared boarding the ship for Troy all those years ago, 20 years ago, right? But all the same," next page, "make up his bed for him, Euryclea. Place it outside the bedchamber my lord built with his own hands. Pile the big bed with fleeces, rugs, and sheets of the purest linen." With this, she tried him to the breaking point, and he turned on her in a wild flash, raging, "Woman, by heaven, you stung me now. Who dared move my bed? No builder had the skill for that, unless a god came down to turn the trick. No mortal in his best days could budge it with a crowbar. There is our pact and pledge, our secret sign, built into that bed, my handiwork and no one else's." An old trunk of olive grew like a pillar on the building plot, and I laid our bedroom round with that tree, lined up with the stone walls, built the walls and roof, gave it a doorway and smooth-fitting doors. Then I lopped off the silvery leaves and branches, hewed it, and shaped that stump from the roots up into a bedpost, drilled it, let it serve as a model for the rest. I planed them all, inlaid them with silver, gold, and ivory, and stretched a bed between, a pliant web of oxhide thongs and dyed crimson. There's our sign. I know no more. Could someone else's hand have sawn that trunk and dragged that frame away? So you see, it's solid and it's beautiful and it's well made and it's rooted in the ground and it's strong. So that's this big symbol of their relationship. Their secret, as she heard it told, her knees grew tremulous and weak. Her heart failed her. With eyes brimming with tears, she ran to him, throwing her arms around his neck, and kissed him, murmuring, "Do not rage at me, Odysseus. No one ever matched your caution. Think what difficulty the gods gave. They denied us life together in our prime and flowering years. Kept us from crossing into age together. Forgive me. Don't be angry. I could not welcome you with love on sight. I armed myself." Go to the next page here. Sorry. Oh, I just made myself smaller. Right in the middle, I'm reuniting. "Long ago against the frauds of men, impostors who might come, and all those many whose underhanded ways bring evil on. Helen of Argos, daughter of Zeus and Leda, would she have joined the stranger, lain with him if she had known her destiny, known the Achaeans in arms would bring her back to her own country? Surely a goddess would be moved to adultery, her blood unchilled by war and evil coming, the years, the desolation, ours too. But here and now, what sign could be so clear as this of our own bed? No man has ever laid eyes on it. Only my own slave, Actorus, that my father sent me as a gift, she kept our door. You make my stiff heart know that I am yours." So she's reassuring him that she's been faithful all these years, which is kind of an interesting thing for him to not reply to, isn't it, if we look at it from a more modern point of view. But now from his breast into his eyes the ache of longing mounted. He wept at last. His dear wife, clear and faithful in his arms, longed for as the sun-warmed earth is longed for by a swimmer spent in rough waters where the ship went down under Poseidon's blows, gale winds and tons of sea. Few men can keep alive through a big surf to crawl, clotted with brine, on kindly beaches, enjoy, knowing the abyss behind. And so she too rejoiced, her gaze upon her husband, her white arms round him pressed as though forever. So there's another epic simile, right? Compared to someone finishing a long journey at sea and barely making it back and being so glad to be on the land, compared to how she feels being reunited after these decades with Odysseus. And paraphrasing the end, Odysseus and Penelope tell each other all about what happened to them while Odysseus was away. Then Odysseus visits his father, Laertes. Remember, he's always referred to as Laertes' son, right? To give him the good news of a safe return. Meanwhile, the townspeople, angry about the deaths of the young suitors, gather to fight Odysseus. But in the end, Athena steps up and makes peace among them all. And that is the end of the Odyssey, guys. Thank you for hanging with it. Get that study guide done, and we'll talk soon.